How many times have you lied about your mental health? Personally, I couldn't count the number. You know, it's every time someone asks you, how you going? And you just say, I'm okay, or I'm tired, or I'm sick. It's one of those little lies that you say to people to just end the conversation, to move it away from mental health and into something that's just a little bit more easy to explain, or something that has a lot less stigma. You might do it because you feel embarrassed. You might do it because you don't want to be judged. You might do it because you don't feel comfortable saying and opening up about the stuff that's happening in your life. But either way, this phenomena is really a problem. And you know, it's not your fault. It's not the person who's listening to this going, well, I don't share when I'm mentally ill. It's not your problem. It's not your fault. It's society as a whole. It's the fact that mental illness itself has such a stigma. And the reason for this stigma is fairly clear. The stigma exists because mental illness is invisible, because it can't be seen, because it's so easy to think that you know how someone else is feeling by looking at them. But unfortunately, mental illness is here, it's not visible. And because of that, people start labeling and judging and viewing other people. You know, when someone says that they're depressed, right? You look at someone and they say, oh, I'm depressed. It's very easy to look at yourself and go, well, I've been sad, I've felt this, I've felt that, so I know what depression is and I was able to get through it, so why can't you? Or I've felt anxious and you're saying you've got anxiety, so I know what that feels like, therefore shouldn't you be able to get better because I did? Just saying this sort of stuff sounds stupid, but I really feel that that's what people think, or that's what people think that other people think, if that makes sense. A lot of the time the mental health stigma is perpetuated, or at least not combated, because people are afraid to speak up. And it makes sense. You're afraid to speak up because you don't want to be judged, because you don't want to be put down, because you don't want to have your options limited. So you don't speak up. And the problem by that is if you don't speak up, things aren't clarified, things aren't made clear, and people don't know. So people are left to view the world based on the misconceptions that they currently have about the world. There's no right answer here. All I can say to do is that, well, all I'm trying to do myself is share my own experiences with mental health and mental illness by talking about it openly and honestly, because only through open and honest communication and discussion about the problems that everyone faces can we hope to really clarify and show the world what mental health and mental illness is. Unless we have an open and honest discussion and communication about it, we're not going to be able to move beyond this sort of cliche stigma-based approach to dealing with people with mental health. And those with mental illnesses will stay silent because they don't want to be judged, or they'll feel like they will be judged even if they won't. Unless people start openly and honestly talking about what's happening and openly and honestly expressing that they're okay talking about it to other people, will we ever see any sort of reduction in the stigma, and therefore increases in the mental health of everybody. And it really is an everybody problem. 1 in 5 people suffer from mental illness right now. So think of your family, think of your friendship group, think of your work colleagues, think of, any group of 5 people. 1 out of those 5 people will be suffering from a mental illness right now. And over the lifespan, 1 in every 2 people. So it's either you or your partner statistically. It's you or your brother. It's you or your parents. It's such a massive problem that just doesn't get talked about enough. And that the fact that it's so massive yet so not spoken about really does speak to the real problem that there is with regards to stigma and stereotypes and all of that sort of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that you should just open up and just express everything that you're feeling, because obviously that would come with some potential negative consequences. If you are not in a place and you don't feel comfortable, don't share it. I always advocate guarding your mental health first beyond everything else. So if you're not in a good enough state to feel like you want to open up or can open up or should open up, keep it to yourself, that's fine. But if you can talk about it, if you can express it, if you can ask someone how they're going, that might be enough. I'm always saying, if you like a video that I'm doing, please share it. But don't just share stuff that I'm doing. If you see a TED Talk or a meme or a picture or a stat or a podcast or anything that you see out there relating to mental health, share it on your social media. Talk about it. Post it on your work cubicle wall. Get the word out there to the world that you are comfortable sharing and talking about mental health and mental illness. The more that you share and talk, the more other people will see it and the more they will know that you are somebody that they can trust to come to if they need it. Now, they might not acknowledge that you're posting it, they might not like it, they might not comment, they might not do anything, but they will be seeing it. And if they are seeing it, they know that if something could happen, they can come to you. Now, on the other side of things, it could benefit you. If you start sharing and stuff and people start responding, the people that do open up and that do sort of respond to what you're talking about, they're the ones that you can go to and that you know you can go to if you need support and help somewhere down the line. And given the stats, chances are that it might happen. You might need personal support, or you might need some assistance to support someone close to you. So it's worthwhile spreading and talking about and just connecting with people, opening that discussion around mental health, mental illness. It literally might save someone's life, and I don't say that lightly. Self-harm and suicide is a massive, massive problem in this world, and it feels like once every month we're hearing stories about famous people committing suicide, but that's the only stuff that makes the world news. It's happening all the time in every community, partly because people don't feel comfortable sharing and talking and opening up. You personally, the person listening to this right now, can be the bridge to start that communication. Just say, hey, ask someone, are you okay? And if they say, oh yeah, I'm okay, and you're not really believing them, say, okay, that's fine. But if you ever do need to talk, don't push them, don't force them to open up, but just be like, hey, if you ever do need some support, I'm there. And, state it globally. Say, hey, check this link out, follow this person, look at this stat. This is an issue that we need to talk about, and you'll show the world that you're someone that people can open up to. And when someone does open up to you, when they do take you up on that offer, don't be judgmental. Just accept that they're coming to you for support. Be honoured that they're actually feeling comfortable enough to open up to you. The only proviso I say is obviously to guard your own mental state. If someone starts talking about depression, suicide, and you're concerned about them, but you're not in a place to help them yourself, refer them on to someone else. Refer them to a psychologist. Refer them to a support group or some other services, depending on where you are. There'll be a bunch. Just Google them. And if worst comes to worst, emergency services. If you can help the person personally and you don't think it will impact your mental state too much, help them. Take them to a doctor. Talk to them. Lend them your support. Help them with a personal task, whatever it needs be. Obviously, you'll know the situation. The only other thing that I want to add to this is be aware of how you're talking just casually in conversation. If you refer to mental health or mental illness in a demeaning or a stigmatized way, just offhand or as a joke, chances are you're doing that around someone who's got mental health problems themselves. They might not be open or out or talking about it, but they'll be listening and they'll hear what you're saying and how you're saying it. If you come across as someone that's not open or not sort of able to be real about it, they may not come to you if they need support. Now, you might not be fully serious, you might be just joking about something in terms of mental health, but if that might be enough to let that person know that you're not someone that they'll feel comfortable talking to in the future. That's just something to keep in mind. So like I've said, if this video has helped you, if you think it could help someone else, please like, please share, please subscribe. Thank you.